next, the moment we've all been waiting for. Without further ado, it is my great honor to invite Yang Berbahagia Dato Sri Meer Habib, Managing Director Habib Jewels Sembilan Berhad, to share his entrepreneurship journey and tips, hopefully tips for success in the challenging and ever-changing business world. Dato Sri.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Terima kasih saudari penerusi majlis. And thank you very much our dear Dato Dr. Norisa for that kind words and the introduction. We are very old family friends from Penang, so we know our families together. And Dato Munira and the WBN alumni members, thank you for coming to our office here. We are very honored to have all of you here. So a few weeks ago, when we got a call to request for me to give this talk, and the topic is the soul of success, I got quite nervous because I consider all of you here are successful. Successful entrepreneurs and businesswomen. So I would like to just share some of the journey that we had with Habib. I've been running Habib for 30 years, and I've been given like 30 minutes to talk about some of the things that we have done, and hopefully I can just give you a little bit of the experience that we have, and also please feel free to ask any questions. I'm quite open. I'm a very open person that you can ask any questions. So maybe even I may reveal some of our secrets of the industry if you want. And for the first time also, we are actually opening our doors to show you our factory and material control department where we process our jewelry. So we will have a little tour after the talk. Okay. So actually the presentation was prepared in Mac, and somehow it isn't. So he's having a little bit of trouble with the presentation. I just got back from Taiwan last night, so been traveling quite a bit. And to start with, while he's just sorting out the slides for the presentation, perhaps I can just tell you a little story. In 1958, our company was incorporated by my father, as Dato was talking about earlier, in Pitt Street, Penang. Pitt Street is a famous road for all the jewelers who were there. And he was actually, before that, he was just working and buying some jewelry from auctions, and he was just selling to other jewelers, and then he started his own business in 1958. From then, we were just doing something, what we were doing was quite different from the rest of the jewelers. While everyone was selling gold, we started selling diamond and intan and different type of things. So he's a very entrepreneurial kind of man. We try to do something different. And during these early days, we also set up a shop in a hotel called Hotel Malaysia, where we were actually selling to the GI. Those days, in 1960s, the GIs used to come to Penang for rest and relaxation. So those American GIs to Vietnam and Korea and all that. So they will come and buy gifts for their wives or girlfriends and all that. So we were also doing that, which was quite different. And those days also Penang. Oh, you already got it. Oh, okay. So okay, there is that's our earlier days. That's where our shop is. And we can go to the next slide. So we were actually selling to the GIs, and it was something a little bit different from the usual. And Penang was also a free port, and there's no tax in Penang. So people from the mainland used to come over to Penang to buy, and also people from different parts of Penang. So different part of Malaysia. So slowly we start doing more of a wholesale business, because a lot of jewelers from different parts of Malaysia used to come to Penang because there's no tax. So besides doing retail, so we were actually doing wholesale to people who are jewelers who are all over Malaysia, especially Kelantan and Terengganu. Then what happened is, in the 1970s, because of the oil boom, there was a demand for jewelry in Middle East, especially in Saudi Arabia. People used to, suddenly there was a lot of money from the oil, and a lot of people used to come to Malaysia to buy, or we go to Middle East to sell. And we also got a lot of very enterprising ladies, especially from Kelantan, Terengganu, and a few other parts of Malaysia, used to buy jewelry from us, and they bring it to the Middle East to sell. So we were actually focusing in the 70s mostly in wholesaling, while we also had our original shop in Pittsburgh. We were selling some retail, but we were also doing a lot of wholesaling during this period. And what happened is, later part of the 70s, the business started to slow down, because a lot of people, they also started selling cubic zirconia, which is imitation of diamond. So the Arabs couldn't see the difference between the real diamond and the cubic zirconia. So then what happened was, the reputation for Malaysia was not very good. So slowly they would rather buy the cubic zirconia and not buy diamonds. So we stopped doing the business, because we want to stick to the real one, even though it was very, very profitable for a lot of people. So we did not do the business of cubic zirconia. We stuck to the genuine diamonds. And then in the 80s, actually I went to study in the States, and I also did a course on geology. It's a study on gemstones. So when I returned to Penang in 1986, so what we were doing was, we were doing a lot of wholesaling, but we were selling to a lot of jewelers, mostly in East Coast, Kelantan and Terengganu. And there was a lot of demand in KL, but there was no one really catering to the market in KL. For example, when I did a market survey, there's a huge Malay market in Kuala Lumpur, but most of the jewelers were not really catering specifically to this market. It's purely a marketing strategy, and we're not trying to be a Malay jeweler. No. It was a marketing strategy where there was a gap, because a lot of the jewelers who were catering to the Malay market, they will make nice earrings, necklaces, where a lot of our customers were wearing tudung or hijab, you know. So we started designing some designs specifically for the Malay market, and we opened our first store in 1986 November in Semua House, where it is convenient for a lot of people to just come in, whether it's a high-end or those who are working around there. So it was one of the most interesting time for us. So that was our first store in Semua House. But we try to do things a little bit differently at that time. In those days, when there's a jewelry shop, it's actually a very traditional business. Jewelry is very traditional. Now, if you go to a normal shop, they will, sometimes they even have a grill, they give you a kotak ring, and so it's very conventional. And then usually there's a grandfather and the father is involved, and by the time they want to make a decision, things are very slow. So we try to be a little bit different. So that time in KL Plaza, there was a gold showroom by Benson & Hedges. So I really liked the way it was looking, so I took my contractors and I want something like that. So I came up with my own design here. So we opened our first store in Semua House in Masjid India area. And that's our first store in KL, and this is something, we were doing something very different from the traditional jewelers. We were more focused on diamond jewelry and gemstones, beside the gold traditional jewelry that we're selling. So one key important thing is, what we were doing was, I was studying in US and I was actually doing a lot of marketing. And marketing was a key part of our business. And because at that time in KL, people didn't know about, it's okay. So marketing was a key part of our business, but I didn't have the budget, not so much of a budget, so we had to come up with a lot of creative way. But one of the not very expensive way of marketing was, I used to go to a radio station from 7:45 to 8:15 in the morning of Saturday and actually talk about jewelry, how to buy jewelry and things like that. But those days, the jewelers were very secretive about what they sell. For example, if you were to buy a 100-gram chain, if you really weigh, it's only 90 gram or 95 gram because they allow to charge some wastage and all that. And then how to buy a diamond, all these type of things, not many people know because they can charge a very high price for diamonds, gemstones. So what I wanted to do was something very different where I would go on radio and people can just call and ask questions. So I wanted to educate the customer also. I wanted to be part of the business. Because what we thought was, we're not here to try to sell jewelry to people, but we want to be like a consultant, where when people want to know about things, we want to empower the customers so that they understand before buying. So that was one of the key things that we were doing. And then when TV3 first came about, I wanted to go on radio, on TV, but I didn't have much money to advertise. But what we did was, we did a deal with TV3. I said, I'll give you jewelry and do a contra deal. Okay, so they give us airtime and they even do a production for us. Those days, not many people were advertising. They will actually do the whole production, which costs hundreds of thousands. And also they give us an airtime in contra. So they, in return, they will have contests and all that kind of things. So where people can win all kinds of jewelry. Well, I'll tell you a little secret. So I used to take all the jewelries that I cannot sell, or do a contract with them. So that sort of worked out with us. So we were getting a lot of publicity during that time, and of course, explained to him that this is actually, we are investing. Advertisement or marketing is actually an investment. So then he had a lot of confidence in what I was doing. So after that, he just let me handle whatever we were doing in our business. So these were some of the things that we were doing during that early days. Okay, when I first joined the business, the way that our business was run was more of a lot of trust that's involved. So my father used to trust his employees, treat them like family, and then we were running the business. But when you are having a very small operation in just one store, you can do that. But when you start developing into more branches and a bigger company, you need to put a lot of systems in place. So what we did was, we targeted, said we want to be the first public listed jeweler. There was never a jeweler in Malaysia who was public listed. So we target that so that that is our finish line. If we can become a public listed company, that means we can run our business professionally. So we had to put a lot of things in place, system in place, a lot of SOPs and things like that. So we actually, a lot of it is just homemade SOPs because when I came back from the States after studying business and gemology, I didn't work outside, I just came straight to family business. So just from observation, because some people would go and work for Citibank or some other places, then they can bring back some of the experience and start incorporating some of the SOPs from there. But in this case, I did not have that experience, but I had to do a lot of things from scratch. So we try to put a lot of things in place so that we run a professional organization. So Alhamdulillah, so we actually, in 1998, we became the first public listed jeweler at that time, and then we actually graduated to the main board during this period. And mind you, in 97 and 98 was the most difficult period. There was a currency crisis and a lot of issues, but we managed to go through that. So that's one of our biggest challenges during that period. For example, if I was owing, we used to buy diamond on credit. If I'm owing my supplier $10 million US, that was 2.5 million ringgit. And overnight, I'm owing, 25 million ringgit. Overnight, I was owing my suppliers 38 million. So it made a big difference. So we went through a lot of issues during this period. But one of the things that we did was the sale in Malaysia came down a lot. So by default, what we did was we started taking our jewelry and start selling in international auction houses like Sotheby's and Christie's. You all know Sotheby's and Christie's?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we started selling, and much to our surprise, our diamonds, our jewelry are of international standard that I found out, and we got a lot of good review, and also people were willing to buy at a much better price in these auctions. So until today, I do put a lot of our jewelry, special pieces, into these Sotheby's and Christie's auction, and people don't know where it's coming from. And a lot of time, Malaysians are buying from this auction, and they're willing to pay a much higher price because of this international name and all that. They think they're getting some international product, but actually, it's from Malaysia. It's from Habib. So that's by default we found out, and guess what? We were selling in US dollars, so we were getting a much higher price from that as well. So these were some of the things that we did during the crisis period, and fortunately, because we had to give a profit guarantee and all this type of things, we are able to meet whatever requirement, whatever guarantee that we had to give during that period. So these are some stories that I was telling earlier. So when it comes to, we love marketing, we do all kinds of things. I used to even do what we call our auction. So I learned something from the auction during that period, and even before that. So I would actually take some jewelry and have our auction like in our stores. For example, I would take like a 10,000 ringgit necklace and say, okay, I'll start with 500. So people get shocked, and then people will start bidding. But a lot of times, what happened is we actually lose a lot of money in the auction. But when we have a big sale, there are thousands of people who used to come to the shop. So those who are not buying in the auction, they also buy from some other, some other things, even though they are not buying in the auction. So that brings in a lot of crowd. So we come up with very innovative things. We painted the buses. There was like 20 buses going around the whole of KL, all with the Habib Jewel sign those days. And then I was talking about the talk show that I used to do on radio. It's about sincerity. But customers used to call and complain actually about Habib. They used to call and complain and say that, I bought a bangle, and then after 6 months of wearing, there is a dent in the bangle. So I had to go out there and explain that we use 916 gold, which is a little bit soft. So you need to be a bit careful when you are using the gold. So sometimes what happened, the complaint turned into a compliment actually. People appreciate these things. So one of the things that I learned from my father is just to be honest and sincere. Tell people as it is. Because even if we're going to lose our customer, that's fine. Okay, just be honest, so that's been our policy from day one. And because of that, we found that it was a great thing. People had a lot of confidence in us. They're beginning to trust, because people want to buy jewelry from people that they can trust. Okay, so in the year 2000, what happened was this is a long story, but I'll cut it really, really short. After being a listed company for a while, we realized that in jewelry business, you really don't have to be a listed company, because what is the reason you want to be listed? But at one time, everybody wanted to have a listed vehicle because that was the thing, and there used to be a very high premium and value for a listed and very prestigious. But for us, we found that there's really no reason for us to be listed. So we did a corporate exercise with SCOMI, because SCOMI used our public listed vehicle to buy this, to buy a company in Singapore for 1.3 billion. It's called John. It was the biggest marine logistics company. So we did this corporate exercise where SCOMI and us joined together using the listed vehicle to buy this company in Singapore. And then subsequently, I bought back Habib Private. So Habib is actually a private company now. It's no longer a listed company, which we are quite okay with that. But I still have my shares until today in SCOMI. I sit in the board of SCOMI Energies, which is the oil and gas part of the SCOMI. Okay, so we have separated that investment in the SCOMI, and we got back our company private, whereby I don't have to worry about pushing pencil and all the, Dato knows about listed companies. He used to sit in many different companies, listed companies. I also know when we were in the Bank Raya. I feel much more relieved because we can just focus a lot more on our business itself rather than worrying about the bursa and every 3 months we need to declare our, we have to show our financials and all that. And people are asking all kinds of questions. Okay, so we started off actually originally as my father's name is Haji M.A. Habib Muhammad, and then I made it Habib Jewels. It's very simple, and then I refined it back to Habib. So you don't have to have the jewels. People already know what Habib is. So we keep it very short and simple. So these are some of the things that we have done. So this is how the evolution of the brand. And the gift of happiness is actually our tagline that we've come up with, because the jewelry business is all about being happy. So people go to jewelry stores to, maybe when they want to get married or some happy occasion. So it has always been that. My father used to talk about, he went into this business because he feels happy, meeting people, all the time, laughing. Even if you're a doctor, people come to you when they're sick. So he used to tell us that. So it's a very happy business. So what we want is when someone open a package from Habib, they should feel happy. So this is what that is. The gift of happiness is our tagline. So these are some of the advertisements that we used to do. We have a series of advertisements, fantasy series. We try to be creative and a little bit different from the rest of the pack. I will discuss a little bit later about some of the values and why we are doing this. So these are some of our ads that we have done over 10 years ago. So this is a very famous ad called a Moon Bridge. And every April, I think maybe you all have you're the first person to have a brochure for our Diamond Fest. So every April, we have this thing called Diamond Fest. Because April is the birthstone month for diamond. Okay, so there's all these different gemstones for different months. So April is for diamond. So every April we have a campaign called Diamond Fest where there are a lot of awareness on diamond and education and even some special opportunity in terms of sales. So these are some of our ads that we've done before. Okay, so the other thing is, one of the key things for us is we must be in strategic locations. So we have 33 stores of Habib all over Malaysia. You can see some of the difference in the way that we have renovated, because after every few years we try to change our looks and all that. So these are some of the awards that we won, but anyway, I haven't talked about that so much. But interestingly, Habib Jewels itself was, when they do a yearly survey, it's actually one of the top 500 brands in Asia. So including looking at all the different brands, even brands like Firefly or Nestle, all that is below Habib, Monia and all that. So it is not just in Malaysia. Habib as a brand itself is a known brand, because this starts with Sony and all the other big brands. So out of these brands, including China, India and all that, we are around number 500. And today Habib Group has evolved into something else. So under Habib Group, of course we have the Habib brand where we sell jewelries. And then as what Dato has mentioned earlier, we have this Pandora, which is actually from Denmark. This is a very famous brand. Yeah. Do you want to come this? Okay. So we have Pandora, which is as what mentioned by Dato earlier. It has actually become one of the best brands in the world. Today, Pandora is actually has got the highest market share in terms of company. That means it used to be number one was Tiffany, number two was Cartier. Pandora has actually overtaken all these companies. And a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people do not know that Pandora is a very huge company. No, it's okay, please have a seat. Not this one. So, this is a brand that we have brought in and we have opened 30 stores. So, like what you mentioned, if you see a standalone Pandora store, it's actually belong to us. These are some of the things that we are doing. And then there's very interesting, fun watch called Ice Watch from Belgium. This is another brand that we have brought in less than 2 years ago, which is doing very well in Europe. For example, in Germany, 8% of the market for this kind of pricing is watch, and Ice Watch has 38%. Yeah. So besides having sales that we do in our stores, we also do a lot of corporate sales. So a lot of big corporations like Maybank and many different companies will buy thousands of watches from us to do promotions and things like that. We are also selling this watch through the TV in Astro TV. Anybody watch this Astro channel where you can buy things? Go Shop, yes. So in the Go Shop, first they said, okay, we want to sell Ice Watch. Can you prepare 200 watches? So we did. So after the first day of launching, they said, can you get about 1,000 watches? Because I think we can do better. So which we did, and so far we have sold more than 3,000 watches in Go Shop. So it's actually another one of our success stories here. No, we can go here. It's better. No, we some of the you see, sometimes we have corporate orders, and some designs we might put in the Go Shop that we don't sell so much in the stores for a very attractive price. Okay, so we also have hundreds of different models. So there are specific models that we don't mind giving a nice price that the Go Shop can sell to their customers. So there is an international brand called Hearts and Fire, which is the world's most perfectly cut diamond. So we sell that, it's our in-house partner. We sell that in our stores. So if someone wants a branded diamond, now here we are competing with say Tiffany or Cartier, but the quality of this diamond is better than Tiffany or Cartier because it's the world's most perfectly cut diamond, and you get even a much better price. Arando is a very long story. Arando Express is our Islamic pawn shop business. Because Dato used to be in the board of Bank Rakyat. So Bank Rakyat has got the most successful Islamic pawn shop in Malaysia. So their turnover is more than 2 billion. Right? So it's a very successful business. So many years ago, it was almost like a social enterprise that we wanted to do a pawn shop business because the traditional pawn shop people, what they were doing is, sometimes I feel that the customers are not getting a good deal. So I wanted to come up with an alternative more than 20 years ago to come up with a better offer, a better option for customers. But we couldn't get the license those days. But when Bank Rakyat wanted to introduce, wanted to do the Islamic pawn shop through Yapin, so we were the consultants. How we were teaching all the officers. We believed that a lot of people benefited from this whole thing. But eventually, we got our own license. So it took us many years. Eventually, we got our own license. So we also have our own brand called Express, where people can get very quick service, immediate evaluation. But the best part of Arando Express is you can also bring your diamonds and gemstones on. So a lot of people say that there's no value for diamond, only for gold, right? But that's not true. So we don't only say it, but we can prove it, because if some jewelry that you buy from Habib or wherever else, you can go to our Arando Express and actually pawn it. Because there are times in life people would have a cash flow issues. And we try to do it a bit different. That there's this very strong stigma that if you walk into a pawn shop, that means you have a problem and all that. So we don't want people to feel that way. So we have a slightly different way, like more friendly sort of environment in our Arando Express, where people can just go and have a chat, sit across the table and have a conversation and get some financing from that. And finally, we have a little hotel called Habib Hotel in Kota Baru. That was the first little venture that we had, because we used to have our factory in Kota Baru. So in the same premise, we had a big space, so we started a small hotel. But this is what we are today. Okay, so anyway, so what is Habib today? I mean, we have things for all walks of life. This is the designer of Hearts on Fire. She comes here every year. You can actually talk to the designer herself to get whatever the latest collection. You can even specially design the Hearts on Fire jewelry. We do a lot of fashion show and all that. That's our ice watch. We get a lot of customers from all over the world. This is Lionel Richie, and we used to even get Michael Jackson was here before, and quietly they've come to the Jackson 5. They also have come to buy from here. People from the royalties, and also ministers from all over the world. When they come, they normally come to Habib. Because Malaysia is actually known for the jewelry. Malaysia is one of the biggest exporter of jewelry in the world. A lot of people don't know that. So when we travel overseas, we tend to go and buy jewelry, but actually a lot of the jewelry is going from here, especially like Dubai. Malaysia is the second largest exporter to Middle East. So these are some of the activities that we do. One of the interesting things that we do, we try to do things differently and be innovative. Afterwards, when you go downstairs to the store, you'll be able to see our Oro Italia 916 collection. Okay, that's one of our innovations. See, in Malaysia, people buy jewelry for two reasons. One is investment, one is adornment. Okay, you wear it for adornment. Another one is investment. Because when people buy, they can go back and sell the jewelries, right? I mean, all of you know that. This tradition has been there for many, many years. Like 50 years ago, 100 years ago, people don't put their money in the bank, they're not really sure, but they'll buy gold. So when they need cash, they want to go for Hajj, or they want to go for, send their children for studies or something, they come back to sell to us, sell the jewelry. So that has been a tradition. So because of that, usually jewelers I'm giving you a lot of secret. Usually jewelers will not invest too much in the design. So we try to do something simple so that we don't have to spend too much money on the design, where we have to sell based on the gold price. Whereas if we go walk into Cartier, buy a bangle, they just say, okay, this piece is 100,000. The gold value will be less than 10,000 ringgit, just the gold value. But you have to pay 100,000 ringgit. But so we couldn't come up with good designs. So finally, we did the R&D, and we have been working with the Italian. We are able to produce some of the really fantastic designs in Italy. But the problem is, in Italy, they normally make 9 karat gold or 14 karat gold, or highest is 18 karat gold. So they never make in 22 karat gold, which is 916. But we have worked with our technical people and all that for a few years. We have done R&D, so we are able to produce really fantastic designs in Italy. So most of our jewelry today in Malaysia, the 916 gold, is actually made in Italy. So we have worked out this, and afterwards you can see. But we are selling based on the gold price, not like Cartier. No? So it's still based on per gram price. So this is one of the greatest innovation that we have done the last few years, but a lot of people don't realize this. So that's all. That's really about Habib. This is what we want to do. We want to come up with something that's world class, but the price must be reasonable. So yeah, more of this week. I don't know what happened to Amita Sarawat. She disappeared. So this guy is actually the owner of Ice Watch. So they always joke that I'm the Asian version of him. In fact, somehow he's wearing a white shirt and a red pants, and I'm wearing a. Anyway, okay, they asked me to come up with something about the leadership principles, but these are some of the philosophy that we have. So the leadership principle is we need to do things differently, because we are actually a very entrepreneurial company. You see, if we are not, I'll still be sitting in Pitt Street and trying to sell that. So we got here. We always do things differently. Even the gold, the traditional gold that we do differently. The diamond jewelry, the R&D that we do, the designs are completely different. And whenever we do something, we have all our competitors just following us. There are 3 companies already listed after us, following the exact same principle of what we were doing. So we need to keep changing, so that we need to keep changing a lot. And the competition is also very, very strong. So we need to come up with a lot of different things. So when we came out, Pandora is something completely different from the traditional what the jeweler is doing. So we need to keep that entrepreneurial spirit. It's important for us to be passionate about what we do, and we are never satisfied with whatever that we achieve. We always have to come and innovate and do things differently. So that's some of the principles that not just me, our entire team that have in our company. Okay, the other thing is, one of the things that we talk about is, it's not about sale. We want to empower our customers. Remember I was talking about going on radio and talking to the customers. We want everyone to understand what they are buying. The power is in the hand of the customers. So a lot of times our customers go to South Africa, they say, oh, gold diamond is coming from there, so it's cheaper, they won't buy. So when they come back here, for the same thing, we realize that they are at least 30% higher. So what we do is we teach them how to evaluate diamond. There is a certificate, you can make comparison. So you can compare apple to apple when you buy a diamond. Then you can get a much better price. So you decide. We're not going to say that, oh, Habib is better or Malaysia is better. You decide. So we try to educate them as much as possible. And for us, it's about relationship. When someone walks into our store, we are not trying to just make a quick sale. It's about how we build and explain to our customers. If they like, they buy. If not, it's really fine with us. You are not obliged to. When you walk in Habib, you must buy something. So these are some of the principles that we have. And also we have to be international in the way that we think. The world class. One of the things is we have to be world class in everything that we do, but with the local values that we have. So it's important to give a family. Trust is very important in our business. So we take care of our customers like families. But at the same time, we have to be very international in the way that we do business. The quality and everything else, even the stores that we do. And these are actually the core values that we have. When I first started the business, my father was running the business quite successfully. So the first thing is we looked at what are the value, what's the value that he had? You know, what is the secret of success there? So after a long time, we came up with this. Okay, maybe I should start from the bottom because sincerity and honesty is actually the most important thing. People want to come to a jewelry store and they want to buy or invest because you don't want to invest in something that you don't know. Okay, so it's very important that you must know who is behind the business. Okay, and then leadership by example is another key area in our business, and we consider everyone an entrepreneur within the organization. So it's not a wrong spelling. It's what we call an intrapreneur, where all our employees, we have about almost 1,000 employees. All of us here are like entrepreneurs within the organization. It's called intrapreneur. So we don't want we don't want to say that okay, everyone is an entrepreneur, so we don't want everybody to finish work at 5 o'clock and go and sell hot dog. That's not what we mean. But what we mean is if you're a branch manager in Sunamapani, a customer is walking to you and they're asking for a discount. The guy next door is a owner operator. He owns the company and he is willing to give a much lower price. So we empower them to make that decision, whether to give lower or whatever, because all our branch managers, they know what our cost is. Okay, so these are some of the things that we do, and we take it as we are a consultant, not a salesman. A consultant is a friend. Consultant is someone who is an expert in what we do. You know the term Jawari yang mengenal manikam, right? So we have to be experts in whatever we do. So we have a lot of gemologists in our own organization. So all our staff are being trained by gemologists how to value diamonds, how to evaluate gold when they want to sell their gold jewelry and all that. So a consultant, someone is like a friend, he gives advice. So we don't mean that you don't have to come to Habib and must buy. So we try to give advice and all that, and we feel that when we push someone to do sales, they will buy, but next time they might not come back. So we always look at a very long-term strategy. And within our organization, our people, we encourage a lot of personal development, and training and other things. So one key thing is a world-class for less. So if you buy a diamond from Habib, for example, it can be as good or even better than Tiffany, but our price will be much, much lower. So that's one of the important things that we have in our organization. And we are also, people who are working in Habib must be also flexible. If someone coming as a legal manager, but in the interview she said, I will only do legal work and cannot do anything else, we don't hire them. Okay? So sometimes when we have a big sale, we have about 5,000 people or 10,000 people coming to this shop here within 3 days when we have a big sale. So everybody will go and help the sales, to do sales from upstairs, from different departments. In that way, they also learn about what the customer wants. And we find that to be a very important thing in our organization. Of course, these are some of the future things. One of the things that we're looking at is bringing in more brands. We have done very well with Pandora, Ice Watch, and all that kind of thing. So we may even grow to become a fashion brand next time. But of course, we also do a lot of exhibitions all over the world. We go to Dubai, Bahrain, Switzerland. We have not opened our Habib stores outside, but we go for international exhibitions where we exhibit and we can sell our products. The other way is also we sell through the auctions, Sotheby's and Christie's. So we know that our quality of jewelry is of international standards. So Malaysia is actually a very good place to buy diamond. Still, even though there's a GST, but still it's one of the most established places, because to run a business in Malaysia is very reasonable. You know, as you can see, Kuala Lumpur, you know, is probably the cheapest city in the world. The same quality that you're talking about. You know, you go to Mandarin Oriental or Grand Hyatt, whatever, what quality you get. The same quality you go to other places, it's a lot more expensive. So, in terms of pricing and all that, it's still a very reasonable place to buy jewelry. So, the last thing is, one of the important things is in our business is we must have fun. Happiness is important. I remember when I was a young boy, I used to go and help my father in the business. There's always a lot of laughter in the shop. You know, people will come in their trishaw wearing transparent kebaya and, you know, coming to buy a Morgana ring and anting and all that kind of thing. So I always remember this. And we used to get customers from Butterworth or Seberang Perai will come in and they'll bring some kacang kuda for us or something. You know, it's like a party, you know, every time in the shop. So that's the same spirit that we try to have, because it's a wonderful business where people come in when they're getting married, when they want to get a gift for a birthday or some other thing. So we try to keep that spirit up. And as I said, you know, being the entrepreneurial spirit is very important in our business. So we will keep on trying something different. We keep on trying something that we have never done before, pushing the limit. So that's where we are. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih Yang Bahagia Dato' Sri Meer.
Throughout your journey, have you ever had the feeling of giving up or frustrations along the way?
Frustration, yes, but not giving up. It didn't even cross my mind. But of course, we have gone through a lot of frustration, especially like during the, you know, there are times when we get also, there are professional people coming in and we have also been cheated. Somebody coming trying to buy and they swap the diamonds. We've lost a lot of money there in the beginning, and especially in the 97, 98, we were very much in pressure because we had to keep a profit guarantee and all that. The economy was really down, the sales just dropped. So there was a lot of challenge. Even last year when GST was implemented, we had a very, very big challenge. Number one is not just the GST, but the currency exchange. See, 2-3 years ago, the exchange rate was 2.96 to a dollar. So that means if you buy something so we used to sell this Pandora bracelet for $295, $100 US. So by right, because it went up to 4.4, now today is about 4.10, 4.1. And with the GST, we should be selling close to 450 ringgit for the same thing. So people's salary has not gone up. You know, not much the last 2 years, 3 years, but you know, the price has just jumped like nearly 40%. So there are a lot of other challenges the last few years. You know, because of the oil price coming down and all that kind of thing. But you know, we just need to come up with something really different to overcome these things. See, like when you look at a public listed jewelers, some of these listed companies, they used to make like 10 million profit a quarter. So after the GST, they're making 5 million loss. And then after the second quarter, it's also another 5 million loss. So those profitable companies in our industry are making losses because a lot of people will not think of jewelry first, because when you go through this type of thing, they are looking at some other more important things before looking at the so-called luxury things. But of course, it's very frustrating for all of us. But on the other hand, also, it's extremely competitive. This thing is extremely competitive because sometimes the challenges that we face is within the country, or people just don't understand. Government opened the doors to have exhibitions, so there are so many exhibitions, jewelry exhibitions, where jewelers from all over the world will come, and sometimes they even cheat. When they come in and they sell a synthetic stone as real, and then they just go back next year. No one is controlling. So, and a lot of customers, it's very frustrating, they go and trust these people and buy, and then they get cheated. Or after buying, after 1 week, wearing for 1 week, all the stones fall off, then will come back to us. So this type of things is happening. There are a lot of international brands that is opening in Malaysia. Very, very competitive. Now you're talking about the Cartiers, Tiffany's and all that, but there are also brands like from India is coming in. Lately, you go to Masjid India, there is Joy Alucas, there's Malabar, there is one company called Bobby and Maradona. You're talking about the footballer Maradona, but he's actually wearing a sarong and selling gold jewelry. So many, all kinds of different things happening. So of course it's okay. Competition is fine with us, but sometimes it's not at level playing field. And dealing with shopping complexes, for example. So we can go to big shopping malls, but if you're an international brand, they give you a very good location. If you're a local brand, they put you on the 4th floor, 3rd floor, or something like that. But you fight, and then the international brand, they have to pay a much lower rental. 1/3 of our rental. So we have to pay like 3 times more because we are a local brand. And then the government is saying that, the locals must build a brand. But the challenge is not overseas, the challenge is here. But when we go overseas, they are willing to give us the best of the location. They recognize our brand as a very good brand, but we have problem here in Malaysia. And especially if you are talking about GLCs, are even worse. Even though it's a government-linked companies, but you will get the worst of the location. So we are the most established brand, for example, from those days, from Subang days, we are in airport. But the best location is given to somebody else, unheard of brand, but we are given a lousy location somewhere else. So we have this type of issues, but it can be very frustrating. But because we are very, very straightforward, honest, we don't do any hanky-panky and all that kind of thing. So we fight until whatever the best that we can get. Thank you. That's a very good question. Thank you. Out of all our stores, there's only one store that is a franchise, but we actually tried franchising. Somehow our industry and the product is not going well. See, a lot of our franchisees who took up a franchise before, they are there with an intention to learn about the business, and then they want to open themselves. But they think that it's easy to do because, people can just buy. There's a lot of wholesalers who just buy jewelry from all over the place. But when they go on their own, then they realize that it's not as easy. Then they close down. So franchise is something that you need actually a very strong discipline, and you need people who are honest to do this. See, what we also realize that we start having issues like sometimes the franchisee may buy some gold jewelry from somebody, like people sell, and then they can wash and sell it like habit. So that's where we became very nervous. It's not about making money or doing profit, making profit or something. It's nothing to do with that. So we need to control this. So because somebody else is representing habit, and if they go and cheat someone else, so that becomes a big issue for us. Because our reputation is a lot more important than this type of things. So in our industry, we find that it's not really suitable for us. But of course, if food businesses or some other things may work, but after testing this, we find that it's not so good, because the most important thing is our reputation. We need to control that, and sometimes through the franchisees, we do not have that kind of control. So during the interview, they said they will be an owner operator, but once they get the franchise, they just get a supervisor and let it run, and they just stay home. And then these people can do whatever they want. So these are some of the issues that we face. Okay.
That's really my question. So, all this while, whenever we walk at the shopping mall, we always see brands like Dato, and also different. I always wonder how those are the brands and they're big. You own very proud household brands. So how do you actually start help the feeling in us of having the local household brands until international brands, well, I see international brands.
Thank you very much for that question. You all heard the question, huh? Okay. How do we compete with brands like Cartier and Tiffany, the international brands? Of course, like some of these shopping mall people I mentioned, they have helped us a lot. Because every time they do this to us, I get very angry. So I get very passionate to fight against all these international brands. So I want to prove that we can be as good or even better than these international brands. So that keep us going to come up with better designs and better price and all that. So we have very strict policies and values that we were talking about. So one of it is world class for less. So in whatever we do, we must be world class. So that's why R&D is a very important part of our business. We do a lot of research to come up with the best quality that we can come up with. At the same time, the price must be very reasonable. For example, there's a factory that I make jewelry in Italy. Okay, so they have two customers. For 916 gold, it's Habib. They make for us the 22 karat gold. And for 18 karat gold, they make for Bulgaria. So there's only two customers. It's the same quality that we have, but the price that you get is totally different. But even the designs, I dare to say that our design can be even better than some of these international brands, because afterwards you can see some of our designs that we show, and the quality and the finishing. It's a lot more difficult to do in 916 gold than 18 karat gold. Anyone can do 18 karat gold, but 22 karat gold takes 2 more years to come up with the R&D to come up with this, because gold is soft, pure gold is soft. So in 18 karat gold is harder, because 18 karat means 18 part is gold and 6 part is alloy, what we call alloy. That means 75% gold and 25% is alloy. So how you mix? You can mix something to make it hard. But when it comes to 916 gold, 22 karat is a lot more difficult to do. So we take all these challenges. So we think about of our customers, because we want to give the best deal to the customer. So that's the one that keeps us going. So when someone buys, we even think of when they sell back what they're going to get. Now it's easy for somebody to say, oh, they come out with a brand and then the price goes up 10 times or 5 times, with the branding and all that kind of things. But to come up with top quality at the same time at very reasonable price is a lot more difficult. But I think we managed to do that. Our biggest challenge is communicating that to our customers. So that's our biggest challenge, because not everyone really understands. what's behind what we do, what's the hard work that we do, how difficult it is to come up with the kind of things that we do, and yet try to give the best deal possible to our customers.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you so much for the inspiring talk. Okay, my name is Laura. So, it's a question. It's a family business, and how do you segregate your family times and your business times? And of course, you did. Of course, I'm you ada gaduh and your family. And then how do you overcome that? It's a family anyway, and then yet you have to do the business. And how do you sustain in a business family? Thank you so much.
Thank you for that question, Laura. By the way, she's wearing Oro Italia 916 bracelet. The bracelet, yeah. Okay, how do I separate the... So this is a very tough question. So when you're asking a business question, I can just talk about it very easily. Yes, of course we try to, but during the earlier days, I think I'm guilty like any entrepreneurs. So we just get sucked into a lot of time in our business. But we try our best as much as possible to be with the family, participating in, especially when the children come, try to have some family time with them, and going to school, and even our children are studying overseas. We try our best to make as many trips as possible to visit them overseas, but try to also during the same time we try to incorporate some business into it. So I think to sum up the whole thing is the last trip that we made to Italy. I made a trip to Italy in in October. And actually I brought my wife and my 3 children. And the holiday is like visiting all the factories together. So my son is at the back and my wife. But surprisingly, they really enjoyed that trip, actually. So because you learn a lot about the culture, and the Italians were very nice. At the same time, also, you learn something about the manufacturing processes and what we've gone through. So a lot of times, actually, we also try to incorporate things together. Like for example, sometimes we go with the family to a shopping mall. Normally I choose going to a mall where we have our stores. So I can churi a little bit and go and see the shop for a while, and then come and join with them later on. So this is how we do it. Thank you. Any other questions?
Relations have a weird way of recognizing brand. If it's an international name, immediately it's a different attitude. They are great, even though the quality is much less good. So, have you ever thought of doing what they do? I mean, in the sense of how to make your brand really an international brand? During the Oscar Awards, for example, I can't remember any of the actors. So, Sandra Bullock. He's wearing a Bulgari. A nice, Gucci dress and then a Bulgari. And then you will always be advertised that, she's wearing Gucci with Bulgari. Have you ever thought of perhaps getting one of these top names? You're not giving them, they are not giving them. They're just and then one day appeared and fantastic if she's an Academy Award winner. I don't know, Mazri, for example, imagine she's the best actress of the year. Mazri in I don't know, in Valentino with Habib earrings. Then you are immediately up the scale. You are already up the scale, but it's the psychological thing that you do that.
I think that's a very good suggestion. We will take it. I think we are looking at ways and means to have that. But all this while we have our priority in Malaysia. So one of the things that we were concerned about going international, even though we started going international, but we always come back because it sounds very sexy to go overseas.
No, but it's for Malaysia.
Yeah, for Malaysian brand, yeah, right. You understand, yeah. But we do not want to. There's so much demand in Malaysia. It's been growing and growing. So we have always been focusing in the Malaysian market very much. But I know what you mean. You're talking about the marketing point of view. So where we can market ourselves internationally.
Yeah. For Malaysian, the ego aspect
Yeah,
of things, you know. The
But-
minute we show you where's yours, for example,
Right, yes.
everybody else will come.
Yes, okay.
So,
But in our little way, that there's all these award ceremonies in Malaysia, like Anugerah Bintang Popular and all sort of things. Habib is always a sponsor actually. And there's a lot of these actresses or singers like Siti Nurhaliza and all that. They're always wearing our jewelry. Even Sheila Majid and all that. I think our local celebrities, yes, but the overseas ones we have not done yet. So we will take note of that. It's a good one. So sometimes it's just that working the security and all these kind of things. Yeah. Okay. Any last questions? Okay. Please.
Hello, Dato, Sri. Yes, my name is Marina Hines. I have a question for you. It's interesting when I look at your business model. It has the brand acquisition of Pandora. Right. So, what are the considerations that Habib took into cognizance before the acquisition of certain brand as authorized distribution in Malaysia? Because it could be the same factors that
It's going to be the next revolutionary brand. What's going to be really the in thing that's going to happen. And also, what will have the same kind of value that we carry. Okay, so for example, if there's a brand is totally price is totally crazy, but they're charging exorbitant price, but the value is not there, then we will not do it. So, for example, Pandora is a fantastic brand, by the way. It's affordable luxury. Prices are not too crazy, not too expensive. A silver bracelet we used to sell for 295. Now we are selling for 329. So 329 the bracelet. So then you can just add on, for 100 something ringgit, you can buy that charm. So these are hand finished jewelry and natural. I mean, it's a silver real jewelry. So even costume jewelries are costing more than that. So we do a lot of research in this, and we see that this is going to be the next best thing. So when we go overseas, like some of the questions that you asked, so we go holiday together with our family, but we are always also thinking about what's happening, what's the next revolutionary thing that's happening, what's happening in the fashion industry, what's happening in the world where in terms of what's the latest, things like that. So after looking at all that, then we decide, okay, this is what we want to do. For example, the ice watch, it used to be that people buy some watches, they wear until they die and then give to their children and all that kind of thing. But we feel that ice watch is something that is, you can buy and you can change every day, you can come up with something else. So there's a 2 years warranty, the prices are very reasonable, maybe 300, 400 ringgit or 1,000 ringgit. It's another affordable luxury category where anybody can buy. And it's a fantastic watch, it gives you the best time and all that. So we look at that because everyone is naturally doing the Rolex and the Pateks and all the different brands, but we thought of doing something a bit different where everyone can afford and they get good value.
how did Pandora select? There must be many who went to bring Pandora to Malaysia. So why Habib?
Did you all hear the question? Why Pandora selected us? There's a very interesting question. So many years ago when we were traveling overseas, we go for jewelers convention, and all jewelers in US, for example, they were talking about this Pandora, how special Pandora is. Because in US, for example, they have a shop and they sell Pandora inside, like inside Habib, it's part of the thing. So there's not standalone stores. So during the economic crisis, the normal jewelry was not selling, but everyone was buying Pandora. So when we go for international conferences, so I got very curious. We start asking questions, what is this Pandora and all that. When we came back, we were very interested in Pandora. So we wrote to Pandora. So that time they first opened they were not in Asia, they just opened their Asia Pacific office in Hong Kong. And they said, okay, if you're interested, we actually have an appointment to see somebody else. We want to give this brand to someone, but since you call, I'll come and see you. So this Danish guy came to this office, and we just explained what we do, and we didn't want to try to be someone else. So we just say what we are doing, and they said, okay, can I see one of your stores, one of your shop, how do you operate? I said, okay, let me just drive you, and we were just on the way to our KLCC shop at the shopping mall. So we passed through this kayu, there's a kayu with Amma. He said, are you hungry? I said, yeah, it's okay, let's just go. And I ordered a big kepala ikan. So these Danish people and all that there, and then it was quite kind of hot like this. I don't know what's wrong with the aircon today. But anyway, it was kind of a hot day, and then we just fold up our sleeves and start eating the kepala ikan. So after that, I went and showed him the shop, and then they went back. And I thought we didn't get it, so we just be ourselves. And then finally, next few days they called and said, okay, we would like to work with you. So after many months, I asked him, why? So I was wondering, why did you choose us as your franchisees in Malaysia? And so, I don't know who they were trying to see, some big company also. But I know that the kepala ikan did the trick. But anyway, he said that because we would like to work with someone who's sincere, genuine business people who will take care of our brand in Malaysia, wherever they do. See, before this, all the franchisees were all Danish. So we were the first non-Danish person they were giving to the franchise. Like for Singapore, there's a Danish couple who's living there, so they gave to them. So in Australia and all the other places, everywhere was Danish. The Danish people are very cliquish also. So, but now they are quite open. But during that time, that's how it happened. So we didn't want to just pretend anything, this is how we are. We don't want to show off. This is how we do our business, and as it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Meer. I believe it was a very refreshing and uplifting session.